Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. So today is Wednesday, and very actionable day, I guess. You know, we came in today and the market was a bit overbought, thinking that we could use a rest, and if you had some leftover longs from the prior 4, 5, 6 days of rallying, definitely could have hurt in the first 15 to 30 minutes. The market pulled another one of those. Let's take back an entire day or even 2 days in 30 minutes. So you had to think fast, and you had to take some losses, and you just, had to be prudent and honor stops. And for me, it was a rough 30 minutes, but I guess it could have always been worse. In this earnings season, I somewhat chose not to trade options into earnings. And, this morning I was like on the virtual trade floor, I'm like, let me buy options in Apple, the 535s, just because sentiment's so damn negative. There's such a nice pennant there. No one's talking about it. It's probably going to beat the same way we did it with Google, a few quarters ago. And then around 3 o'clock, as the market kind of was horrendous and it was a down day, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need to have a zero. I might as well just take them off. Hopefully you guys weren't on the VTF for that and you just kept your options because you thought I was long them. I'll just trade it after hours, and lo and behold, they announced a 7-for-1 stock split, great iPhone sales. I don't care about the pad. All in all, though, I think that it's going to be good for us. Apple's been somewhat untradeable for a while and off the radar maybe now with the 7-for-1 split. It's less capital intensive, more volume, less control by the option specialists on the Thursday into Friday or whatever. And let's just get into the action. I'll show you that anyway. But after hours, if you were on the VTF, was pretty good. Facebook was down $2-3. You saw it go green. Nice cash flow trade. Even Apple, I did buy in the first few minutes. Went $8-9, and now I'm out of it, and I'm going to come back in there and see what the story is and see if I want to do any overnight or just wait for tomorrow. But overall, I think that's a good thing because Apple, that's been a bread and butter trade for us over the past 5 years, has turned into a thin, random, lethargic nothing. So maybe that changes. Go to the chart here. You'll see, as far as the spider is concerned, you have this trend that's intact. Last time we corrected here, you had your 2-day pivot that created a nice tradable move to new highs. You go right into today, and you will see that after this moved right back to the trend line, same type of pattern. If you would have covered shorts and bought on this move, you had a nice move to the upside, and now here you go. Market felt like it was down a heck of a lot more than it was with this little bar here. The longer it stays in this little bull flag, the higher the probability it gets to go. As far as, let's get right into Apple. I talked about this. I sent out a chart, I think somewhere around 345, showing this macro wedge. And at least in the writing, I said, I think, I'm leaning to the long side considering that sentiment's so damn poor. And I was hoping we'd get a buy somewhere around here, but it opened above 560. And I think that's where it's kind of holding right now. Your next level here, if you're trading it after hours, is right at the peak. I guess we can go to a 5-minute chart and go to 24-hour time. There you go. Here's your after hours trade. So at this point, if you are trading it, which some guys do, you had a quick little buy and it went as high as here. Now it's going to develop a range, and just you got to figure out what do you want to do here. Do you want to be long overnight to see what all the analysts say, or do you want to wait till tomorrow? But as of right now, maybe you traded versus this 560. Nice move here. Obviously there's going to be a big gap that we could trade against, and we shall see. As far as Facebook, that one was a little bit different. Those who saw the virtual trade floor, I think I got long a little bit below 60. Okay, went positive, and now as we're watching it, it's holding up here in the green. I know the initial number was lower, but they beat on revenues, and some people are talking about the CFO, but all in all, looks like you just had a fake out to the downside, consolidation, and it's starting to move to the upside. So, those of you trading that, good job. Let's see what Apple's doing right now as we're talking. Still hovering, might need a little bit more time. So you go to some other things, and we came in today, the first thought of mine was to buy Tesla after a big move, and it was so strong the prior day. And then, lo and behold, couldn't find the friend. I said, let's see if 214 hold, and it didn't. Bought it versus 214, it went to 207. I got out of it way earlier, so I guess it could have been worse. At this point, still in this downtrend, I guess you could say as long as it stays above here, it's okay, and maybe it sees something different. Solar City also got hit pretty hard, but then you look at it after the fact, then it's still above yesterday's candle, but you wouldn't expect it to give back so much. So that's why it's making it very difficult. I did come in today, and one of my focuses were going to be the banks. I said if the banks could hold in while the market tries to go lower, it could be a good sign. And if you look at Bank of America, something that I did add to my position today, it looks like it might be able to break above this trend line for a trade. JP Morgan also looking like it could head into this gap for a trade. Citigroup's been acting somewhat the best, where you have a flag, could see the 200-day maybe tomorrow. So look at the banks tomorrow. Casinos, same type of thing as like a Tesla. That's just gross. To have a breakout type day, to get engulfed, very quickly. Hopefully you didn't get too hurt. That's just not easy action. It should never have gotten below this little spot here, or halfway through, to stay with. Almost looks like this when it just engulfed it in a lot of that same kind of crappy action. As far as the metals are concerned, a lot of people out there keep talking about the metals and how it's a place to be. I still don't believe it, but I'm long some GLD. The GDX came in, nice strong day today. Sometimes it's a leading indicator for the GLD, and the GLD at this point, you could see it having a little bit of a double bottom here. So maybe it gets upside. I'm hoping that it's not a random type trade where you look what happened here, and that was not good for guys who are still long this. I'm in some of it. You can see it on the VTF, but I'm not that comfortable, and I'm not such a believer in gold. But hopefully, it tries to retrace a little bit higher. Besides that, looking around the board, some of us were trying to play AIG. Nice little macro move here. This chart is actually looking really good from a longer-term arena. There is that. NVIDIA was better, and then it's still looking good. There are some things that are trading above moving averages and still hanging in pretty well. The XLE, the energy group, oh my goodness, it's just not giving way. Just showing you how the HFTs have the pain trade just going. Here's calculated, here's your gap up at highs, and now it just continues. You look at stocks like Schlumberger, just crawling higher, and Halliburton continuing higher, and it's just these things, when they have the shorts and the ropes and people not wanting to be long, they just go, and that's the way this market's kind of been. But it's hugging the 8-day, it's following the trend, giving you no real reason to either get out of it or really get shorted. Even yesterday, you had an inside day, but it wasn't really that potent. And hopefully, if you were short, you covered when it eclipsed this pivot here, and that's why we use pivots. What else? I'm sure LVS looks just as bad as Win. Yes, engulfing day right here, which if you were long even a third, what I like to do is when I take longs, I like to play for a breakout, take some overnight because you closed strong, and then even if you took some overnight and you tried to buy a little bit on the dip, you probably got ran over and lost your whole day, and there's really nothing you can do about that. It's just the way it is. And hopefully you didn't just buy, and then hit out at the lows of the day, and that would create a horrendous day versus just a bad day. I came in long Fay, and this is just gross. Like you look at this, the whole day that it engulfed, after the news of the secondary, boom, right near the lows. So I came in long, and I said, okay, let's see what happens. And I think it left my virtual trading floor somewhere around here. Okay, so here was the move. Things went against everyone very quickly. Did a little bear flag right into this zone, and then once it broke 48.50, I'm like, I'm just out of this friggin' thing. What a piece of junk. Sold my options too, which I lost a little because that was like that landmine. I'm like, I'm just going to get out. I don't think it's going to be over 50 anytime soon. Took a little bit of a loss, better than, I guess, all the way down here. 40, this was, I think, 48-ish or 49 even, and then, here you go all the way down to 46.50. So if you didn't think fast here when you're in fast stocks, that's what you have to do. Who knows? Maybe you hit it out all the way down here, which would have been a lot more painful, and it's not even funny. It's just that's what that stock has been doing to people. What actually was working for some people? Not Dunkin', right? Dunkin', which has been a good stock for a lot of people over the past few years. DNKN, closing the lows. This stock is short-term broken. It's been pretty much short-term broken since it broke this upper area and came below the 821 days. So if you use this for your method on entries and exits, that was your out. Now you have a lower high and another out. If you've had it in the drawer since I mentioned it way back here on this cup and handle pattern, it doesn't really matter to you. you know, you bought it here and you had it in the drawer and you just gave a little bit back. But if you traded actively, you know, that could have been your out right there. It all depends on how you want to slice it. Now you have major support over here, and if you are trading this, let's see, you go like this, you know, you have a trend line here, and you have another trend line somewhat like this, and I'd hate to see you give back too much money if you were in it from the macro and you think you could trade it and get back in it. If it were to break 46.20, you got to get out and maybe figure it out, unless you're just sitting in it and that's what you do. And some people probably did it right here. You know, when it broke this line, they got out, thought they were great, never got back in, and then missed that. So you got to figure out where you want to live. What else? Ford. Some people are looking at Ford. Go to the daily chart, and Ford has numbers coming out. It looks okay. It was strong today, and it looks like maybe it's on the move still. Not that compelling. What does GE look like? GE. This was your earnings, and now it's coming into the earnings. Not so good. Now look at Netflix. Netflix is a reason why you really need to honor areas, because they talked about what kind of Netflix are we going to have. Is it going to hold this gap up, go sideways and continue, kind of like what it did here, or, you know, which was a really nice trade, a really nice setup, or would it come into the gap and get rid of the pent-up demand and be a no trade? So the news came out with Amazon and HBO, and pre-market traded through 364, came back, retested, and then closed at 353. Hopefully, if you were long it versus gap, you use your stop and get out of it when it traded through it. So now I guess you got to see what happens next, and you write down 353. That'll be a pivot, and we'll see what happens there. It's what time is it right now? It's 5:12. Let's see what Apple's doing after hours. I'm not in there trading it, which I'd like to be, which I'm going to go back for. Look at that, coming back up, nice bull flaggish. You know, this is that high there. I think this is going to be tremendous for the stock. 7-for-1 buyback dividend. Okay, you know, see how it goes. Just you have to know whether you want to hold it overnight. And that's really it. Tomorrow, John Darcy will be doing the morning call. I'll be trading from Short Hills. It is my 10-year anniversary, so I'll be in the morning, and then I have to leave in the afternoon. I wish everyone a great trading day. You'll see my positions on the VTF, and I'll also be on the radio first thing in the morning, so stay tuned. Have a great night.